And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. I just reviewed Can't Stop, which was a dice rolling game from Sid Sackson Griffin Games. It's a press your luck dice game. You're trying not to stop, you're trying to get through stop signs and pressing your luck. Today we're going to look at an expansion for this, and it's called Rolling Down the Highway. And this is an expansion that adds a lot of tiles, a lot of randomness that happens to the game, a little bit more strategy. Let's show you how it's played, and I'll see you on the other side. For the Can't Stop expansion, Rolling Down the Highway, what we have here is 72 black tiles that are placed face down randomly, one for each space. There's also an extra white cone that can be used depending on some of these tiles. Now, I'm not going to explain how the regular game's played here. What happens is, let's say at the end of my turn, I decided to stop right there. I got 3 white cones at the beginning of the game. I decided to stop. What you do is, because we voluntarily decided to stop, we flip each of these over and we will resolve these. Now this, for example, is a yellow traffic hazard. And what the traffic hazards make you do is, this is in row number 4, okay? So I have to take all 4 dice, roll them like normal, and I have to come up with a combination of 4, which I did, luckily. Here we go, here's a 4. Now, because I did that 4, and this was row 4, I get to put my cone right there. If I did not roll a 4 in any combination, my white cone would come all the way back down to where it started. In this case, it was off the board. Now, let's see what we have here. Okay, these are basically things that you get to keep, and they will actually allow you to change the dice in a future roll. These are the interstate tiles. So I may have a bunch of these in front of me at a time, and let's say I roll this, and let's say I really needed a 7. Well, I can put it down here and say 4 plus 3 is 7, and 3. So in this case, I would have a 7 and a 3 to use, and then this would get discarded after that one-time use. And in this case, we have a tile here that will flip up. Ooh, this is cool. This is called a roundabout. And what this allows me to do is move in any direction, up, down, left, or right. Well, shoot, if that one was right up here, maybe if I found it right here, I could move right here and be 1 away from winning 12, and that would make sense. In this case, maybe I just move up, and then you resolve the next tile that's there. So then we would pick this one up as if we had just been there. Oh good, it's one of those ones that I get to use later, so I would pick this up, and I would put it down, and again, because it was there, it would go like that, and that would be the end of my turn. So when it's the next player's turn, wow, he might be rolling some 9s, which is this row right here, and he might want to go up to 3, and if he gets his white cone here, that might give him some incentive to stop here, because now he can move another spot without even having to do anything. Maybe he can move over here. Now let's say he did that. Let's say he stopped here, and then that would move him over here, and we would activate another tile like this. And in this case, this should be, again, another hazard tile. Just because it's a different, oh, that's actually the same. There's a bunch of different yellow ones that have all different logos on them. But again, you'd roll doubles. So let's look at all the rest of the tiles. Let's say we voluntarily ended our turn on this one. We would flip it over. We have a map tile. You get to keep this tile, and you get the 4th cone, the new cone that came with the game, with the expansion. And next turn only, you get to have 4 cones that you use, so it lets you to go longer. And of course, this would now go there. Let's say this green guy stops here. We get to flip this over. Ooh, this is a +1. What this allows me to do now is I would basically move this up here, and then we would resolve this as well. Ooh, detour. Now what this does is this, I have to go to the right one, and now I got to resolve this as if it was there. Ooh, +2, look at this. This guy's going all the way up in this thing over here. Whoa, he's going almost off the camera there. And then we get this, resolve this. Ooh, I get to move 1 and resolve it. This one goes here, 5. Ooh, so I got to move that green guy all the way to here. Wow, lots of stuff. And I got this to keep. That was an amazing turn. Let's say I voluntarily ended. One of my cones was there at the end. We flipped this one over. Ooh, it's a -1, so it would come here. We would resolve this one, and I would get a 6. So my green guy would move up to here, and I would get to use these later. We already talked about what those ones do. Okay, let's say I ended here on this row. We flip this tile up. This is lost 2. You put this in front of you to remind you that next turn, you only get to use 2 of these white cones instead of 3. So this one actually hurts you quite a bit. So you would continue playing just as you normally would, flipping over the tiles anytime you got to resolve it. Even if they're face up, you would resolve it. So for instance, if this person went here, he knows what this is and he gets to resolve it, where some of them you don't know. And you continue to play as the same rules until you get 3 at the top numbers, and that's the expansion. Well, this game's been out a long time. The original base game, Can't Stop. And it's interesting that as expansion comes out now. Now, obviously, the person who originally designed this game, the late, great Sid Saxon, is no longer with us. So they did have some other people do the expansion for them. And I've got to say, you think of Acquire, you think of Venture, you think of Sleuth, you think of I'm the Boss, and you think of some of those classics that he's designed that I love, and there's no expansions for any of them. Well, why is that? I think it's because his designs are so simple and elegant. They have a simple elegance to them, I like to say, that they don't need an expansion. So I was intrigued to see what this one would do. I thought it would add more strategy. I thought it would give it a more gamer-y or gamer type of thing. So what do I think? I don't like it. I like the idea of it, and I like it in theory. But for me, it seemed to clutter up the game. It took some of the simple elegance away. It took the streamlined mechanisms away. It added some cool things. It added some randomness, obviously. It adds a decent amount of setup time. Putting those 72 tiles takes a good 5 to 7 minutes to get them out, spread them out, shuffle them out, put them there. And then it's like every time I hit a tile, I'm pulling it up and I'm doing something. So it actually takes the game longer as well. So it almost makes the game overstay its welcome. The tiles, I like the things that they do, and I like how you can do cool things like you saw in the video. You move from down all the way up to the top. It makes the game a little clunky. You can even get caught in loops where you're going on a detour and going down one and going on another detour and going up, and I don't know, that's kind of clunky to me. There are rules to deal with how to get out of those, but still. So in theory, I like it, but in practice, I don't like it. I probably won't play with it again. However, I think if you play this with the expansion, and instead of having it on every tile, you put it on like 1/3 of the tiles. So like every third tile, you put one of these. Then I think maybe you'll have the best of both worlds, where you can have some strategy. Oh, there's a detour over there that I saw that you now flipped up, and now I can head over to the 12 right there. I'm gonna go for that, and then I'm gonna stop, even though I might need to go somewhere else. So I think playing this with less tiles actually is a good balance. Is probably the way I'll play it from now on. So I don't hate the idea. I loved it. Just didn't do as much as well. It didn't feel right to me. So for me, I like the expansion, but only if you play it like every third tile, where it gives that difference there, but it's not overwhelming, and it's not just every tile, and it's not completely randomness every time you score. So anyway, that's what I think of the expansion.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.